Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for today's Seller Masterclass. We're really delighted to have sellers joining us from all across Australia. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Barbara, and I'm the General Manager here at Garage Sale Trail. Before we begin, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people today. So, hello, let's get started on today's Seller Masterclass. We've got sellers joining in from all over Australia, some who have never had a garage sale and some who have had a garage sale many times, I'm sure. And today's session is really all about providing you with tips and tools for your upcoming garage sale on the trail with us. So if you're on the line today, you're hosting a garage sale either this weekend or next weekend as part of the trail. We'd love to make sure what we cover today provides all the tips and guidance that you're looking for. So do use the chat box at any point to ask any questions you've got for me or for our fellow presenters. And equally, if you're a seasoned garage sale organizer and you've got your own tips that you'd like to contribute, we'd love to hear those too. So feel free to chime in on that chat box with your tips and questions for our experts. So today's session will be about 45 minutes to an hour long. We're going to run through a few key areas that are key to having a successful garage sale. So we'll start by talking a little bit about promoting and getting shoppers along to your sale. Then we're going to delve into pricing and merchandising. We'll talk about how to accept payments, and then we'll open up more widely to any questions you've got that you would like to cover. So to help us today, we've got some fantastic experts. We have two experts with us. First off, we have the incredible Nicola. She is hosting a garage sale on the trail for the 5th year in a row. So she's got a wealth of experience to share with us. And rather specially, she's not just a gun at organising garage sales. She's also worked in the fashion industry for 20 years as a fashion stylist and has been selling vintage both online, at markets, and garage sales for over 7 years. It's well worth checking out her store at Zaza Vintage Store, where Nick sells on Instagram, Etsy, and Facebook. And it's all about bright, fun, dopamine dressing that's size inclusive and budget friendly. So fantastic to have Nicola with us today. And then we're also joined by Rob Bates, who's PayPal's consumer insights expert. And Rob's going to talk us through how you can take cash-free payments by QR code using PayPal. We've had heaps of questions from sellers over email and on social media about PayPal. So we thought it'd be great to get expert advice from those really in the know on how to use PayPal and accept payments that aren't just cash. So we'll just stop sharing for a little bit so we can actually say hello to Nick and Rob properly. And we'll start with you, Nick. How about you tell us a little about the garage sales you've organised in the past and how successful they've been?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm very excited to have my garage sale this weekend and next weekend. I'm actually doing both weekends, as I always do. I think just throw everything at it. As Barbara said, this is my 5th year taking part in the garage sale trail, and for me, it just works really well as a way to promote my store. I do have a vintage store, so I use it as a way of my customers being able to come in and try things on, getting new customers, spreading the word, and of course, selling stock, making some extra money, and meeting lots of lovely new faces in the process. So yeah.
Great. And what sort of takings do you get at your average garage sale? What's the sort of daily taking for you?
Oh, like in a monetary figure?
Oh.
It varies over the years, but I think like the first couple of years, I think I was getting something like $1,500 a day for just a few hours. Yeah, being at home, just walking out in the back and rolling up my roller door. So that felt pretty amazing. As well as getting kind of more online following and yeah, just kind of repeat customers, repeat business. And just, you never know what's going to open up to you too when you start meeting people from the community. You know, I've had people approaching me to do markets with them before, or other people kind of wanting to donate their things to my store, or me like sell their things on consignment. So yeah, it's just a great networking opportunity as well.
I guess that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just about the money you're going to make. It's about all those new connections. And you kind of forget when you sign up that actually one of the most beautiful things to come out is all of these new people in the community and neighbors that you get to know as well.
I think so.
So we'll start by we're going to kind of kick off with the tips, talking about promoting your garage sale, because really, number one, the golden rule of garage sale success is all about ensuring you get people along to your sale. So we want to help you promote your sale and get as many people along. And there's two parts to that. So first, of course, your listing on the Garage Sale Trail website. So we thought we'd have a quick look at sale listings. So all of you on the line will already have set up your sale listing on the Garage Sale Trail website. And I've actually got Nicola's listing on screen now. Nicola, what do you tend to put in your listing? What are your kind of key things you like to include to get people along there?
I think number one, try and make the title as eye-catching. People, if you start to look in your area, there's actually, like around my area in Cronulla, there's so many sales. So as you start scrolling down the list, you really want to grab people's attention and get them to stop scrolling and kind of click on your listing and find out more. So I'm using this as a way of clearing some stock that I've had for a while. So I'm doing an under $20 sale. That's one thing I've noticed from other garage sales. I had to be clear, because I am a vintage store. I had to be clear that I did have a cheaper price point than my usual vintage store, because I had a couple of people come and think, oh, I thought this was a garage sale where things were going to be, you know, $1 or $2 or something like that. So I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So this time I made sure that I was clear about the price point. I am still going to have like a back section that has kind of fuller price things, but that's just how my store runs. So yeah, I've done the under $20, and then I've told people a little bit about what kind of vintage my stuff is, because mine is like Barbara said, mine's quite bright and colorful, as you can see. And so other thing, I didn't want people getting there being like, oh, I only like whites and neutrals and that kind of thing. I'm probably not the place for you. So yeah, I just try and give as much information as possible. The times. I had people waiting at the front both times. So that's one tip. Be ready. As soon as you open up that roller door, or however your garage opens, there will no doubt be people waiting outside. And what other information did I put in there? Oh, photos. That was a really good idea. Being able to show photos of past years, or just little examples of what kind of stock you're selling. I've already had people actually messaging me through Facebook asking about what types of things I'm going to have, and certain collectors looking for certain things.
Yeah, I think those are all great tips. You know, it's we find that the sales that add a little about section, and exactly what Nick's saying, express who you are in that about section, and that might be, you know, listing 2 or 3 of your favorite, the best items you've got. It might be telling them a bit about your style, as Nick was saying, hers is very colorful. It might be mentioning the sizing of the clothes that you're selling as well, so that you're getting better matches with your shoppers. So if you'll have your listing set up, if you are looking at editing and updating that before the big weekends, the things we recommend you do, definitely check the dates, times, and the address are exactly as you wish them to appear. The addresses have all been published today. So as of today, people will get the exact address that they're coming to. So now's a great time to check that. If you haven't already, add an about section. And do ever think about your sale name. As Nick said, there's a lot of, in some areas, there's a lot of sales. So you may well want to choose a name that's really going to catch people's attention. And we know that's really hard. So I've actually pulled some of the best ones. Hopefully some of the people with these names are on the line with us now, because these are some of the great sales names we've seen this year. And, you know, I think what kind of comes across with all of them is they're all talking about, you know, themselves and their situation and expressing their personality. So I am definitely looking forward to getting over to the Cathedral of Kitsch. I love something kitsch, so that's immediately got me. And who can resist the drama queens and their has-beens? I mean, that just sounds great. So do ever think about that sale name. If you are looking to edit your sale, you can do that at any time. just log into the Garage Sale Trail website. So you'll go to garagesaletrail.com.au/login. And then you'll get into your seller dashboard, and in your seller dashboard, you can then edit your sale, view your sale page, and access any of the resources we're providing. You'll also find, if you're having any difficulties with that, you can absolutely get in touch with us, and you'll find some really useful videos on our website that talk you through how all of that works.
I liked the on your Instagram, Barbara, the little tips and tricks for names if you couldn't think of one. That was really
Yeah.
cool.
It was really fun, wasn't it? So yeah, if you haven't seen it, over on Facebook and Instagram, we've done a little sale name generator. So if you are struggling, you can use your nickname, your date of birth to come up with a fun sale name for your sale. So that's us on editing a sale. I'm just gonna have a quick jump into the chat box just to make sure we've got any questions coming up. No, we look like we're all good on questions, but do keep questions coming in. So let's start talking about promoting your sale. And I might just pop out of presenting just to get your insights. Nick, what are the ways in which you then, once you've got your sale listing looking good, what are you then doing to let people know in your community that it's on?
So I use the social media that I already have. So I've got Instagram and Facebook. So I post little posts on there saying it's coming up. I do wait till I do sometimes do one when I created my listing online. But I then do wait to just the week before, because I find if people don't know what they're doing that weekend and that pops up, they're like, oh yeah, okay, let's do that. If you kind of post too far away, I find they kind of forget. So I like to post maybe a week out and then like a day before again. I do Instagram, Facebook, then I also do my local Facebook groups. So if you're not already a part of your local kind of buy, swap, sell, or we've got like a Cronulla notice board or all those kinds of groups, I join all of them and just do the same post. You just copy and paste it in each one with the same thing, a couple of photos. If you wanted to post the link to your garage sale trail so they can find all the information through there. And then that also opens up for people to be able to message you and ask a few questions if they need to as well. I also go old school. I print out flyers and I post them around my local area. I actually have had so many people that even come the day of and just say, oh, I just saw your flyer just then in Cronulla Mall. And so I just popped down the road. And like out the front of train stations, anywhere where your kinds of customers would be, local cafes. I know I said to Babs at another time and another chat that because I sell vintage, I then target kind of people who like vintage. What else do they like? They might like yoga. They might like, organic cafes, that kind of thing. So you kind of tailor your advertising towards your audience a little bit. And I also just do signs. So I'll just do a sign kind of garage sale this way. I'm actually this year I decided I'm going to put some paper signs on my front fence. I do try to keep all of my advertising as eco-friendly as possible. I don't want to start blowing up balloons or putting a bunch of sticky tape anywhere, because we are trying to help the planet while we're selling all these things. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think is you've got a really good mix of both some online promotion, but also offline. I know when we were talking earlier, you were saying that actually probably the number one thing for you in terms of how people hear about your sale is seeing posters and seeing signs up and around the neighborhood. We've got a question from Poppy around how to post the link of her garage sale to her social media. So Poppy, you can access your link if you log into your dashboard, or even go through the map, the /sales on Garage Sale Trail website. You can find your sale and then copy that URL into Facebook, certainly. How do you do it on Instagram, Nick? Do you use like a link?
You can actually, when you're doing it on a story, you can go up the top, and where you would post like a little sticker or inserting text, you can post the link in there and it does it as a link that you can just click on. The other thing I actually forgot to say is I also do it as an event on Facebook. So I invite all my friends that I've got on Facebook, and then also they can invite people as well. That's just I just use all the free forms, as many as possible.
Yeah, and the good thing about Facebook events is you can put it reminds people, doesn't it? It will pop up in there kind of often, it will pop up as a notification that this event's coming up soon. So if they got that, they'll get a reminder an hour or so before it arrives.
And Instagram actually does do that as well. You can, as you can see on the screen there, I've put a reminder on my Instagram post. But you know, obviously the social media side's not for everyone, and I also put little flyers in my neighbours' letterboxes as well, so that
And
you can do a little
is
walk
this
around.
and is this the flyer here by any chance?
That's the flyer that I post up everywhere. Yes.
So I think that's really good for everyone to see because it's super clear. It's got the dates, the times. You've kept it to the things you know they need to know, the kind of the basics around when, where, what time. And good to see that you're also doing things like making it clear how they can pay as well there. That's great.
Yes. Well, that is one thing a lot of people assume just because it's a garage sale that they can only pay cash. But because I already do markets, yeah, you can do card and of course PayPal as well. So
Yeah. Great. So really, if we're looking, there's kind of two ways to promote, and if you can, we recommend you do both. So if you're doing it online, just to kind of summarize some of those tips from Nicola and from other sellers that we've worked with in the past. What we see successful sellers do is promote in social media this week and then again just before their sale. Local Facebook groups, if you leave with one tip today, in terms of online promotion, local Facebook groups, as Nicola mentioned, are incredible for getting the word out. And that might be your suburb groups. Most suburbs have either a postcode group or a community notice board, but you'll also find communities that are very secondhand focused. So things like buy, sell, swap groups that you can join, as well as things like parents groups. So, you know, secondhand kid stuff is obviously really big. So if you're selling lots of kid stuff, consider those parent groups as well. And of course, if you're promoting on social media, do make sure you tag us. We love to see your sale, what you're selling, how you're getting involved. And we love to be able to celebrate your part by your part in the event by interacting and sharing your posts as well. So please do tag us. And if you want something that's ready-made, logging into your seller dashboard means you can access a whole bunch of ready-made tiles, both for posting and for your stories. So there's lots of tips and support in there too. And then, as Nick mentioned, promoting in a neighborhood is really important. You can either download materials from your dashboard. So we've got some posters that you can print and write on, or you can go old school. Everyone loves an old school hand-drawn reused sign on the garage sale trail. And you can also letterbox your neighbors, telling them that you're getting involved is a good thing to do too. And you'll find all of this in your seller dashboard. So we've got directional signage ready for you to print and use, as well as letterbox slips. And just to give you a little bit more inspo, we thought we'd share some of the really good examples we've seen. And what I love about garage sale trail signage is seeing how people use what they've already got. You know, using old boxes to draw on and create your signs, sticking it on bins. You know, maybe you've got a whiteboard or a chalkboard you can repurpose for this event. I thought this one, Nick, was pretty good, given it's kind of at-home printing, just bright, bold colours to spell out garage sale.
I like the old school, these chalk ones too.
Yeah, I love a chalk one. It's a great, it feels like a sort of treasure hunt if you're kind of following arrows on along a pavement to get to it. And I thought it was kind of cool to see people using it for pricing as a way to kind of point towards the $2 table.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions coming in on promo? What do you use instead of sticky tape from Deborah? What a good
I have
question.
used blue tack, and I have used thumbtacks when I put them into like the wooden poles, like probably electrical poles. I have thumbtacked them, and then on occasion I do use sticky tape, but I go back and I take them down. So, and then I do actually red cycle the sticky tape. And there is a few tapes you can get now that are bio tapes as well. I've seen at Officeworks.
Well, that's good. Great tips. Those, and actually a really good point to remove your
Pegs.
tile.
Somebody just said you could use pegs too. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, of course. Very good. Robbins, what's the best way to advertise when you live in an area that isn't a thoroughfare? That is a great question, Robin, because obviously being on a main road means you'll get loads of passing traffic. The key from my perspective there would be really to do what Nick's suggesting around getting posters and flyers into areas that are really busy over the weekend. So places like cafes that people will be at early in the morning when your garage sale is on. What else would you suggest there, Nicola?
Well, anywhere that people are waiting around to, I've found quite good. So we've got a few bus stops around us. So I kind of will stick it on a bus stop, pole or sign near a bus stop, anywhere that anybody's standing. I'd also use like our school groups too. Like we've got a WhatsApp group with our school parents. So I post it on there because they're people that are going to live close by as well. Or preschools, use all your kids' friends' parents. Where else? If you lived, that was a really good tip about the kind of secondhand groups and eco groups. We've got a group around here that we all post when we see amazing things on the side of the road. I can't think of what it's called now, but it's like secondhand stuff in the Shire or something like that. But groups like that, there's still time to join all those. You can, even if you have to apply, it's pretty quick normally. So you've still got time to join them and advertise through them too.
Yeah, absolutely. John's got a question around councils. Have notifications gone to local councils? So yes, if we partner with those councils. So Garage Sale Trail is made possible thanks to the support of about 80 councils around Australia. Sadly, Tweed is not one of them. But where your local council is on board, you'll see a lot of promotion happening by those councils. So they'll be really pushing the message out to really complement what we'll be doing on a national level to generate media to get people out and about shopping as well. So you can see a list of our councils on the website if you're interested to see if your local council is involved.
But a lot of people really do use the website and track, like make their map that they do on the day. What do you call it? But they plot out where they're going.
Yeah, so they're kind of trail. So we've got so anyone, people that visit the website can create a little trail of their favorites, which they check back in on, and we'll be kind of emailing and reminding all of those people who have been onto the site over the next week the next 2 weeks, in fact, to keep reminding them to get out and about and check out your sales.
I had people that were kind of hitting 10 or 12 garage sales in one day as well.
Yeah, it's so good. We're going to move to merchandising and pricing. This is something we get lots of questions about, and I can see there's some pricing stuff coming in. There's some good tips already coming in. Vera, I loved your tip around organizing things by price and putting a big price tag on that table or area. That's really smart. And certainly one of our biggest tips is around ensuring pricing is really clear. It definitely helps shoppers on the day. We've got some photos, I think, of your merchandising, Nick. Do you want to talk us through should we start with like how you set up and display your stuff, and then we'll move on to pricing after that?
Sure. So I do tend to put cheaper racks or tables towards the front to kind of draw people in, because if they're a lot of people do a really slow drive by just to check it out first. So if they're seeing something like, oh, that's a whole rack of $5 clothes, they're going to stop and pull over and at least just come and have a look. So I start with kind of cheaper things at the front. Then I'll put like something like accessories on a trestle table like that. Then I'll have racks of clothes around the sides. I think it's really important to make sure people have space on the racks to actually look through things. If you don't have racks, Facebook Marketplace, I tend to pick up racks off Facebook Marketplace really cheaply and quickly. And like Bab said, I even do drive-bys along like council cleanups the weeks or two leading up if I need extra tables or anything to use, just to kind of merchandise things and make it look a bit better. Yeah, you want it to just look like a shop and have people be able to clearly and safely have enough space to move through the garage to actually see everything. I found if things are kind of stuffed in like a box where they can't really see things, or if they have to some people love a rummage, don't get me wrong, but I personally don't love a rummage. So I prefer to see everything laid out if you have the space to do that. Otherwise, people do like a suitcase full of things for some sort of really cheap price, so the rummage is worth it, and it's a bit more of treasure hunting.
Yeah, and that's actually Deborah on the line is saying she makes up boxes, and she has a box for $5, $10, etc. So again, it's that kind of concept of trying to group things by by price and keep it really simple for shoppers so they know what things are going to cost them.
I think in a garage sale environment too, it's probably better just to have set priced things, whether you do it, a whole rack is $10, let's say, or you have like a color coding system with stickers that everything with a green sticker is $10, everything with a pink sticker is $20. I wouldn't go through, depending on how many things you have, but I wouldn't personally go through and price each thing an individual confusing price. I think people can't really remember that. And if you kind of rattle off a bunch of prices, they're kind of just going to get confused. You want to make it as easy for them as possible, really.
And as easy for you as well. I mean, that just makes it so much easier as a seller to get set up. Interestingly, Vera was saying she doesn't use price tags, kind of a similar point, because it's not about marking individual items, because she likes to discount when it gets to the end of the day, which is a great tip. You know, if you're really hoping to, if your primary motivation for getting involved and having a sale is just to get rid of stuff, you're not too worried about making mega bucks, then absolutely think about discounting for that final hour or so, or even posting on your Facebook groups with items being free and getting rid of the final items that way. Last things on merchandise, I wanted to share these examples I came across of people using things they already had for display. So there's some really clever things you can do with ladders as bookshelves, or using Hills hoists, or just stringing up, you know, putting up string and using pegs to display things. So think about what you've already got that can help you merchandise and display your items as well. You don't have to be spending money buying new things. This is more of
I also, sorry, Babs, I just forgot to say, I also last year did a free table at the front with just things that accumulated. So that was another thing. People would walk in and say, it's really everything on this table free? I'm like, yeah. And then they'll always look through everything else as well. But, you know, if you're happy just for those things to be out of your life, that's a really good idea to have a free table.
Yeah, it's a great idea to have a free table. Questions around setup. Can you be set up? Do you have to be set up completely on your own property? We do advise that, yes. And just make sure you keep everyone kind of safe and on, you know, away from roads. So we do advise you to host your sale on your own property. Wendy uses old printer trays to put small jewelry items in. So lots of great examples coming in around reusing things you've got in the house already to display things. So let's get into pricing, because there's a few questions coming in on pricing. How do you decide what you're charging for things, Nicola?
Look, pricing is always going to be tricky. To me, I've bought the things that I'm selling with the intention to sell. So I have to factor the price in of, you know, buying that item, if it's got stains, taking the stains out, taking photos of it, writing descriptions of it, because I do sell online as well. So it's a little bit different for me. Really, I just think whatever you will feel happy and feel joy about that thing, finding a new home, is the price that you should set. And like you said, Babs, it's sometimes a good idea if you've got like things set at $20 and they're just not moving, maybe for the last hour or so, you put the price down to $10 and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it is a bit of trial and error. Luckily, if you are doing both weekends too, if you find you're not moving as much stock on the first weekend, you can always like change your prices and lower them for the second weekend, which I've done in the past as well.
Yeah, and I thought the point you made earlier was interesting, Nicola, around, you know, previously when you've done it because you're selling vintage, people maybe thought things were maybe a little bit more expensive than a normal garage sale. So I think if you haven't had one before, it is worth bearing in mind that often people assume garage sales are going to be pretty cheap. We tend to see, we've got plenty of people who do garage sale trial every year who sell everything at $1 to $5 or under $10. But really be comfortable with what you're comfortable charging and parting with something for. If you've got really special stuff, absolutely put the price up on the really special stuff. You've got to be comfortable with what you're parting with something for. But bear in mind, it is a garage sale, so people do like a competitive price.
Also, eBay is a good, if you're really unsure, you know, if you're selling, you know, a parent's things or, you know, something that's a family heirloom or something, you also don't want to sell something that's really worth a lot for $1. So I find eBay is a really good tool to be able to quickly pop it into eBay and see what eBay would be selling it for. And then you can kind of go, you know, the same amount as that or a little bit lower, and because you don't have to worry about posting it, and you know, it's still easier. You don't have to leave your house. People are just coming in to buy it from your garage. So yeah.
And we're just putting on screen some other ways that other people have priced things. So it just gives you a bit of a sense of other ways to do it. So this is someone who used a pricing chart, which I thought it's quite a good way of doing it. You do, of course, have to sticker things, and it may be easier to think about keeping those separate tables. Another very similar example, really clear for the people that are shopping, what things are going to cost them. So
just a tip on, oh sorry, Babs, just a tip on stickers. I've found stickers will most likely, if you're selling clothes, they'll fall off clothes, but if you stick them on the hangers, it works a lot better.
Oh, of course. Great tip. So really our top tips here, and please do keep some questions coming in if there's more you'd like to cover around pricing and merchandising, and we can always get to that towards the end. So think about setting up on the day of your sale. Definitely do it on the morning. Organize by category or price, or even we've seen people do it by color. That can look really pretty. Use what you already have to display items. Get out your tables, think about ways you can use things that you already have, and think about how you're going to price things, where you can keep it relatively cheap, and make it really simple for people to know what things are costing.
And just make sure everything's clean. And if you're selling clothes, steam or iron, do up the buttons, make it look nice on a hanger. I just think try and make it look like a shop. It needs to look desirable.
Yeah, very good tip. And actually great one from Tracy around checking eBay. If you are using eBay, and this came up actually in a session we did a couple of weeks ago, check what it's sold for on eBay rather than actually what it's being listed for, because that will give you an idea what people are selling items for rather than what they're charging. That's an excellent tip from you, Tracy. Thank you. So we're going to move to payments now. So what do you provide, Nicola, at your sale? You obviously you provide cash, and do you provide other options on top of cash that are cash free?
I do. So I do cash, and then I have a little square that I bought from Officeworks. I think when I bought it, it was only like $80 or something, which I use at markets as well. And I have used PayPal in the past as well.
And do you find it's important to provide alternatives to cash nowadays with less and less people carrying cash?
I do, yeah. Again, depending on your kind of client, but with the garage sales, you get every kind of person. So, but yeah, I think if you can, it's not an absolute have to, but it's a good idea to if you can.
Yeah, and I think the reality is you want to be able to take advantage of anyone who's just passing, who didn't necessarily know about your sale. They haven't got organized to get cash out. They may not, as a result, be carrying cash. So it just means you can maximize taking advantage of any passing trade, which, Rob, is a perfect time to talk to you. So Rob from PayPal is joining us. I know you at PayPal have been doing some research recently that talks a little bit about how many people do carry cash. And I thought that was maybe quite useful research to share with everyone on the line.
Yeah, thanks, Babs, and hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. So yeah, PayPal Australia is always asking, we're always running surveys of our businesses and consumer customers and asking about their behaviors and attitudes and finding trends in the way that people shop and how they like to do it. And one of the interesting things that we found in this survey is that 3 in 5 or 57% of Aussies say that they barely use cash anymore, doing so for 10% or less of all transactions. And actually 14% say that they've stopped using cash altogether. And so that's why, yeah, we're really thrilled to offer one way that people can make and take payments on the garage sale trail without needing cash.
So let's tell people about what that way is. So do you mind explaining a bit about what PayPal QR codes are?
Of course, sure. So PayPal QR codes are a quick and easy way to make and take cashless payments in person if you have a PayPal account. So the way that it works in a nutshell is the seller will show their PayPal QR code. The buyer then scans that code with the PayPal app. They enter the amount that they've agreed through negotiation or not, maybe a lot of haggling, maybe not. And then as soon as it's confirmed, both the seller and the buyer receive an instant confirmation. So you know the transaction's gone. You can let the person leave your garage sale with the new treasured item. So you can actually, sellers can show that code straight from their phone if they want to, or they can download it, print it out, and plaster it all over their garage sale. We would recommend that if you are going to accept PayPal QR code payments, that you at least have one copy of it printed out, probably where you're doing most of your selling. Not all garage sales have a sort of point of sale area, but if there is one spot where people can scan that, maybe while you're talking to another customer, it'll save you needing to get your phone out for each transaction.
And Rob, does it cost anything to set up? Do you need any equipment at all for setting up a QR code?
Yeah, no, there's no cost to set up and no special equipment if you have a PayPal account. All you need is the PayPal app on your phone and a smartphone that has a camera. So and then the buyers, they will need their PayPal app on their phone as well, and then obviously a PayPal account to use that app.
Yeah, okay. The chat is actually potting up with PayPal questions, Rob, so I want to pose some of those to you. We've had
Hopefully I can answer them all.
I'm sure you can. So there's one, Rebecca's asked about fees.
Sure. Yep. So for buyers, like with all PayPal transactions, there's no cost to the buyer. For the seller, when you are selling with a PayPal QR code, sellers pay a 0.9% of that transaction plus 10 cents fee on the transactions over $10. So if it's over $10, it's 0.9% plus 10 cents. And the fee for transactions under $10 is actually less. I think it's 5 cents.
Yeah, okay, great. And can people, the interesting one from Sarah, which I've never heard asked before, which is an interesting one. Can people later request a refund from PayPal?
A refund, that is interesting. So PayPal offers buyer protection, but that is designed for transactions that happen at a distance. So if an item arrives and it is significantly not as described, or if it doesn't arrive, then our buyer protection policy for eligible purchases may help you get a refund, and there is a process for that. The buyer protection policy doesn't actually apply to QR code transactions, and the idea behind that is you're there observing the product, you're hopefully testing it, taking a good look at it, and you're walking away. So it doesn't make the same sense that it does for a distance transaction or one that's made online. So refunds, I would say, certainly can be negotiated between the buyer and the seller. If you walk away, change your mind, find that it's not exactly as you thought it was, you could go back to them, and then you can settle up however you like. That could be with cash, or of course you could make a PayPal. You could transfer money to that person with the PayPal account if you like.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Sorry. To answer the question more succinctly, for that purchase, there is not a refund button that you hit in the PayPal app and it automatically gives them back their money. It would kind of be a new transaction that you're agreeing to make with that person.
Yeah. Okay. And then we've had a question around how do you know if you've been paid using PayPal?
Sure. So when someone makes a payment on with PayPal QR codes, both buyer and seller get an instant notification. So that's why we suggest that even if you have downloaded your QR code and displayed it around the place, you still want to have your smartphone handy with the PayPal app logged in to your account so that you can receive those notifications. So if I was making a sale using QR codes, someone would scan, they'd confirm the amount, and then I would have my phone in hand. I'd get a little notification and I'll see that Barbara has paid me $20. So that's the point at which I would consider the transactions complete, and you can walk away with your treasure.
Right. And then Rebecca, are PayPal payments taxable as income?
I believe that any income, so I'm not a tax expert and I probably shouldn't even be attempting to answer this, but my understanding is that when you do sell something and you receive money for what you sell, I believe that could be considered income. Again, I probably should be leaving that alone altogether. But my understanding is that it's just like receiving cash or receiving payment into your bank account. It's considered income.
Yeah. Okay. And I've got up on screen for everyone the sort of the step-by-step. Do you mind kind of talking us through that again, just to kind of reiterate how simple it is for people to set up their QR code?
Yeah, sure. So there's two ways to do it. There's two ways to find or generate your PayPal QR code. In the PayPal app, what you want to do is you click on there's a QR code icon that's up in the top right-hand corner next to where your sort of profile button is. So you want to click on that, then click on Seller QR code, get started, and then you'll see your code appear on the screen. From there, you can download it, you can send it to yourself, send it to anyone you like, print it out, and display it all around your sale. Now, if you're a buyer, you hit that same QR code icon in the top right of your app, but then you hit scan. And so what that will do is then access your camera if you've given the app permission to do so, and if you haven't, it just asks you for permission, you'll be okay. And then you want to point that camera at the code for the seller, and it will automatically find your account, and you'll be able to enter your the amount that is owed, and then hit confirm. So the other way to do it, so that's the app. The other way to do it is if you're on your computer, you log into your PayPal account, you click the three little dots under the yellow request button, then you want to click on get paid with QR code. And so that code will then pop up on the screen, and again, you can download it, print it out as many times as you like. There's a few little advanced features, like adding an amount to that code or setting up a tip option to your payment flow. But maybe we can get into that in the questions if we have time.
Yeah, sounds good. Another question just popping in, and then we'll come back to these questions that are coming in later.
Right.
And Mark, you've asked a question there around, does the buyer also need a PayPal account and app to finalize the purchase?
So the buyer will need the PayPal app. That is what they will use to scan the QR code to make that purchase. The seller will need the app to receive that purchase. Like I said before, you can have your printed out QR code as a seller. Someone can scan it, they can make a purchase, they can make a payment to you, and that will go through. But you really want to have your app on your smartphone, in your pocket or in your hand, just so you can get that instant confirmation. Otherwise, it's the honor system. It's handy having the instant notifications, but you've got to have your phone to receive them.
Yeah. And how quickly do you actually receive the physical funds? That's another question that's popped in.
So the funds appear automatically in your PayPal account. There is a little waiting for when you can withdraw that from your bank account. And I've got it in front here. So it is free to withdraw money from your PayPal account into your Australian bank account. It can take up to 5 business days for the funds to appear there, and that's dependent on your bank and how quickly they can transact. And I think whether that's on a weekday or on the weekend, but certainly the funds appear in your PayPal account instantly after receiving that notification once the transaction is complete.
Great. Awesome. And then last question on PayPal, there's a question around printing your QR code.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you find your QR code, either on the app or on a computer, logging into PayPal, it basically generates an image, and you can copy that, paste it, decorate it any way that you like, or just print it out straight like any other image that you would from your computer or from your smartphone. So we actually, I don't know if we, oh yeah, that you're showing a frame right now, perhaps. So you can house that code as long as you're not interfering with the actual little, futuristic dots that make up the code itself. You can display that any way that you'd like. So the Carousel Trail has kindly generated some assets that you can drop your code into, but it's really just the key element is that image of your code. You print it out like any other image, and as long as it's printed out clearly, a phone will recognize that image and open up that seller's PayPal account. One thing that I didn't mention earlier, the best way to do it is, as I described, go to the QR code icon and then hit scan, and you're scanning with your PayPal app. However, if you want to skip a step, you can actually just pull out your smartphone camera, point it at that QR code without opening the app, and what that will do, if you've got the PayPal app on your phone, it'll open up the app and automatically find that seller's profile so that you can just enter the amount and hit confirm. So just remove that step of having to open up the PayPal app and find that scanning button.
Great. Okay, excellent. So, so really just to summarize payments, we still recommend you have cash. There will be certainly people, it's still big at garage sales. It's one of the few places in the world where people do still pay cash. So do have a float ready. But do also consider cash-free alternatives, given we know that less and less people, and the research is showing that less and less people are carrying cash, and we want to make sure you can take advantage of any passing trade. We highly recommend you look at some alternative cash-free ways for people to pay, such as PayPal QR codes. Lynn's actually asked a question, and Nick, this would be a good one for you, around how much change do you start with? How do you work out your float? Tricky one.
I think I normally do about $120. I do like 250s. Oh no, hang on. I must be doing more than that. I normally do about 250s, like 420s. You can do the quick math on this, everyone. Ready? Testing. 250s, 420s, probably like 410s, 45s. But then you do build up a little float by people paying cash pretty quickly as well. And then depending on what your price points are as well, if you've got things for $1 and $2, have some coins, definitely. I normally start at $10, $20, so I don't tend to have the small change. But yeah, if you're going to sell things for the cheaper amount, definitely have some coins in there too.
Okay, great. Excellent. So we're coming close to the end. We're just going to talk about what happens after your sale now. So if you've got any questions you haven't had answered, stick them in the chat now, because we'll be coming to the question time really shortly. In terms of after your sale, one of the things we really recommend as a top tip is to have a think about what you're going to do with the stuff you don't sell. So even the most seasoned garage sale organizers will find they do have a few things left over. And we recommend you do a few things here. We've talked to this tip before, but certainly have a think about giving away or reducing the price of items towards the end of your sale. That's a great tip. And you can use things like Facebook groups to advertise any reduction that you've got in your prices or any freebies. Have a think as well about what you're going to do with anything you don't sell. And if you are going to donate it to charities, we really highly recommend you make sure you only donate items that are good quality. And the best kind of sense check for that is to have a think about, would you donate it to a mate? And if you would, then it's fine to donate. But if you wouldn't, it probably needs to be recycled. And donate that stuff in store hours to make sure the charity can make use of that donation. And if you can't donate to charity, it's well worth having a look at your local council's website. Lots of them offer a lot of services for you to recycle or reuse stuff that you no longer need. So it's well worth checking out what they have. And you'll find we'll be in touch to provide you with some tips and hints for reusing and finding new homes for your stuff after the garage sale trail as well. So keep your eyes peeled for emails from us nearer the time with some tips and suggestions for that. So let's open up to questions. If there's anything anyone hasn't had a chance to ask yet, please drop them in the chat box now, and I'll just jump in there and see what we haven't had a chance to answer yet. So Margaret, is it up to us to advertise in our area, or have you posted in my area? And you're in Barossa. So great news, Margaret, your council is involved in Barossa. So Garage Sale Trail will be doing lots of promotion across South Australia and the country. We also have our councils promoting, but we do recommend that you also do some advertising too. It's really important to get those signs up and do a little bit of promo, as well as what we'll be doing and what councils will be doing locally. Do you have to be living on a street to do this? So Kate, you can take part pretty much anywhere. So we have, yes, lots of people will take part at their home and set up in their garage or front yard. We've got apartment blocks that do it. Generally, they tend to be on private property. There are also, if you're interested in joining a sale, there are lots of big group sales happening, like car boot sales and markets that people can join as well.
I was going to say that because a few of my friends have said, oh, I've got a few things, but I probably don't have enough for a garage sale. a lot of people feel like that. So maybe just chat to a few of your friends, and maybe you could just do one together and they could just bring out over there all their things and you could combine.
Yeah, which is a great idea. And it's so much more fun when you're doing it together with your friends as well. Really great idea. And choose the friend that's got the house on the busiest road. Probably a good tip as well. Are there any limitations or restrictions in selling homemade food or drinks, such as lemonade? Sadly, it's not a straightforward answer on that one because it depends on your local council. In some council areas, you do need a permit to sell food and drink. You certainly can't sell alcohol. But we do see lots of people do it, and we see lots of people also get around it by offering maybe a freshly baked item for free with their purchases, and adding on that kind of a little bit of fun to their sale to get more people to get involved. Good questions coming in about if it's raining. Have you ever had rain, Nicola?
I did one year, I think last year the Sunday was a bit rainy and it wasn't as busy, but people still came because, you know, they're driving around most of the time to each. It's not like they're walking from garage sale to garage sale. But yeah, you just got to keep that in mind. You probably should have a wet weather plan. I've got a few marquees from doing markets. But yeah, I did have to bring a few things inside to the garage, but yeah.
Yeah, it's well worth having a wet weather plan. And that could be, as Nick said, having a couple of marquees handy or moving it into the garage. Or if it's, you know, really bad, you can absolutely use the website to reschedule your sale to the better day. So, you know, consider that as well. If you see that the Saturday's really rainy or the Sunday's really rainy, maybe switch the day around. And yes, I am pretty chilly here. I've had some great comments coming in about me looking cold. I'm in Tasmania at the moment, so it almost feels like another country, I'm sure, to where some of you guys are. So what other questions have we got that I may have missed? I see Rob's jumping in with the PayPal questions, which is great. So Tash, your question is about your council sale. I don't know exactly which sale you're at, but I recommend you either drop us an email and we'll find out for you, or contact the council and they can let you know if they're supplying a table. And actually one for you, Rob, can community groups have a PayPal account, or does it have to be through an individual?
Individuals need to apply for a PayPal account, sign up for a PayPal account. You can sign up for a PayPal business account, but you don't need one to do everything that we've described on this call. Personal and business accounts can both generate and use PayPal QR codes.
Great. Just seeing if anyone else is coming through.
I just got another tip, sorry. If you can bring some music into the garage just to set the vibe a little bit, that's always a good idea too.
It's a great idea. And actually, I noticed today, we always see some people add a little extra something special to their sale. And I spotted today, very local to me in Hobart, is a sale where you can pat a llama while you at your garage sale, which is pretty excellent. So yeah, it's really good. But yeah, music is a really cheap, easy, free way to add a bit of vibe, keep people shopping for longer. We also see people do things like lucky dips. They might wrap up things and you can get a $1 lucky dip and you get something random. People giving away freebies. It's well worth having a think about, some extra things you can add on to make it really fun. In fact, I was reading about one the other day as well that's, knows that there'll be lots of mums and babies and kids coming. So they're doing a little area, colouring in corner for the kids so the mums can actually relax and enjoy the experience. So I guess it's sort of talking to your point, Nicola, about making it a really nice, welcoming environment where people want to stop and browse like you would in a retail space. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Somebody on the line is doing a playlist of the CDs they're selling. That is a great thing. That is so good.
You like this song, you can buy it. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think probably any other final top tips from you, Rob and Nick, that you'd like to share with the group?
I thought I'd just
I've talked a lot, so I think I'm good. Sorry, Rob.
No, you're right. I was just going to say, I was replying to Sarah. She's asked a similar question to someone else. It was about whether people can request a refund from PayPal after they take their goods. So buyer protection, PayPal's buyer protection policy doesn't actually apply to PayPal QR code transactions. So there is no way to request a refund through PayPal, but as we mentioned before, you can certainly negotiate a refund with the person that you purchased from. So it's not the same. The sort of lodging a dispute for a transaction isn't the same for QR code transactions. There's not, a little bit different.
I've never had anyone trying to do that anyway. Everyone's pretty chill at a garage sale.
Have you had haggling, Nick? Do you find people haggle?
A little bit, but that's another thing I was going to note. Just keep it friendly as well. Like, you know, you might get a couple of people like, oh, can you do it for this price? And I just smile and say, oh, come on, it's already such a good deal. Or, you know, if your aim is to get rid of as much stock, you could say, well, if you buy something else, you know, I'll give you 2 for 20 or whatever, you know. So yeah, you just got to have a bit of fun with it. Don't get upset if people do haggle, because I have had that a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that bundling idea is when someone does go in that direction, bundling it to say, okay, well, I can do those 2 things for a little bit less is a good way to make that a little bit less awkward if you are feeling uncomfortable. I really loved Christine's suggestion of having a lolly jar guessing comp. Really good, you know, just to add just that little bit of extra fun to your sale really makes a big difference and gets people staying and shopping. So I've got on screen just a few. I think, am I sharing? Goodness me, am I sharing? Let me just do that now. I'll just bring up on screen our kind of final tips to wrap us up. If we haven't got to your question, please feel free to get in touch with us at any time. I'll bring the email up at the end of the presentation. Feel free to email us with any questions we haven't covered or anything you think of after today's session. You'll also find FAQs on our website, which answer the kind of questions we get asked the most. So kind of key takeaways, definitely do some promotion of your sale. And we recommend, if you can, doing that on social media and with some signage. If you can only do one, signage is definitely the one to focus on there. Make your pricing and your prices clear. Think about doing that maybe by displaying items together that are the same price. And get your cash float organized and consider providing some alternatives to cash as well. They would be our kind of key tips to take away into your sale. So really, I'd like to say a huge thank you first of all, to Nicola for giving up her Monday evening to share her insights with us. It's just been incredible to get the benefit of not just your insight as a seller, but as a really successful vintage seller as well. So thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Rob, for coming and sharing with us how PayPal works and getting people across how quick and easy it is to use PayPal to pay on the day as an alternative. And then,
Thank you so much, Babs. We love garage sale travel.
Thank you. And last but not least, a big thank you to all of you. You guys are really the lifeblood of Garage Sale Trail. You are the event. We're really delighted that you're joining and being part of the event. There's over 12,000 garage sales already registered across Australia. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty big couple of weekends of secondhand selling. If you're near a TD tomorrow, I've just heard hot off the press that Garage Sale Trail will be on the Today Show at around 10:45. You're the first people to hear about that because that's just been confirmed. And if we can do anything to help and support you, we're always here. And get in touch with on that contact us at garagesaletrail.com.au email. Send us your feedback, your questions. We couldn't do it without you, and you're part of something really very incredible that's happening over the next couple of weekends with thousands of people selling and shopping secondhand and diverting items from landfill. So we hope you're really proud of the contributions you're going to make. We hope you have a lot of fun, and we can't wait to see your sales popping up on social media and seeing your emails come through telling us how you went. So a huge thank you for joining us and giving up your evening. We'll send you a recording shortly. Thanks to Nick and to Rob. And we'll see you on the trail. Thanks, everyone.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone.
See ya.